Hey fifth graders, it's Mrs. Tremblay. This is for any of you who maybe missed our Zoom on Tuesday, December 15th. We started off with a number talk today, and I asked the students to compare fractions using only fractional reasoning. So the first question I gave them was 8/7 compared to 7/8. So go ahead and pause it and think about that for a minute. I don't want you to write it down. This is something I'd want you to be able to do in your head. So give it a shot at solving this in your head and press play when you're ready. Okay, are you ready for the mic drop? We can immediately look at this, and with using fractional reasoning, 8/7 would be greater. And we knew this without doing really any math. Because 8/7 is improper, that means this is equal to more than 1. This would be 1 and 1/7, right? Well, 7/8 isn't quite 1 whole yet. 8/8 would be 1 whole. So if this one's worth more than 1 and this one's worth less than 1, this one has to be greater. No math really required, just fractional reasoning. The second one I gave was 5/12 compared to 11/18. And again, pause it, kind of think through, and remember, I want you to try to reason, use fractional reasoning to figure this one out. Okay, in looking at this, without multiplying this by 18/18 and this by 12/12, I know that 11/18 is greater, because if I look at 5/12, 6/12 equals a half, right? Well, 5/12 is less than that. And with 11/18, I know that 9/18 equals 1/2, and 11/18 is greater than 1/2. So if 5/12 is less than a half and 11/18 is greater than a half, that means without having to do a whole bunch of multiplication, I know that 11/18 is greater. So that was our number talk that we had today. We then went ahead and we read some sections in the social studies textbook together. And we started on page 41, and we read pages 41 and 42 together. So go ahead and grab your social studies book, and I'll read this out loud, and you can go ahead and follow along in your book, or if you would just prefer to read these sections yourself, then that's fine. You'll have to do that for social studies today. All right, so I am on page 41, and these are all the different artifacts that were found by archaeologists during their underwater searches. So the first item they found, well, one of the items, I don't know if it was the first item, was a Bible. The Christian Bible is the sacred book of Christians. In the Bible, the Old Testament contains writings from the Jewish religion. The New Testament contains writings by the followers of Jesus Christ. Christianity began in the Middle East. It spread to Europe almost 2,000 years ago in the time of the Roman Empire. Later, Europeans spread Christianity to many other parts of the world. European Christians belonged either to the Roman Catholic Church or to Protestant churches. Many of them believed that everyone in the world should become a Christian. So if you have the belief that everyone in the world should become a Christian, then that's something that you're going to be bringing with you as you're exploring, right? Christian nations sent priests and armies to teach or force people in other lands to join their churches. European explorers took the Bible everywhere they went because it contained the stories and teachings of their faith. So basically, the European Christians brought this book with them, the Bible with them, and the Bible's made up of two sections. There's an Old Testament and a New Testament. And they brought that because they wanted to share their faith with everyone, because they believed that everyone in the world should become a Christian. So that book was very important to them. The next artifact they found were flags. Flags are the symbols of power of countries and rulers. They were probably invented in ancient China or India and were brought to Europe by traders from the Middle East. In the 15th and 16th centuries, explorers carried flags or banners to honor the kings and queens who permitted them to go exploring. Sometimes rulers also paid for their ships and crews. Spanish ships often flew a flag that showed a cross. Their flags also had the letter F for King Ferdinand and Y for Queen Isabella. A flag is a proud signal to people on land and to other ships at sea. Planting a flag on a new land means my country and my ruler now own this land. When map makers drew maps of newly claimed land, they usually decorated them with that nation's flag. So basically, when these European explorers came over, most of them didn't fund their own trips. They were sent by different rulers or wealthy individuals, and they gave them the money to travel and explore based on them putting their flag and claiming that land for them. So for example, if King Ferdinand paid for an explorer to travel over to the Americas, then King Ferdinand would send his flag, and that explorer would then plant that flag claiming that land for King Ferdinand. Something you should keep in mind, this land was already claimed. There were already people living in this land. The Native Americans lived there already. So I'm hoping that you can kind of sense that there's going to be some conflict taking place, because I would have a problem probably if somebody came in and tried to put a flag in my classroom saying this is my classroom now when I've already been in here. So this is something that was taking place. But those flags were found because that was a symbol that, okay, this land now belongs to me. All right, turn your page. Gold and silver were some other things that were found. Europeans counted wealth in gold and silver. So we have like dollars and coins. They had gold and silver. That was their currency, their money. They made their most valuable coins from these metals. In the late 1400s, Spain fought an expensive war, so it cost a lot. So its king and queen wanted to build up their treasury, gold and silver owned by a country. So the treasury was how much money they had. They were happy to learn that the New World might have gold. In Mexico and South America, the Spanish found gold and silver. They forced Indian slaves to work in the mines. Slaves made gold and silver ore into bars, coins, and other objects. They stamped a special number on each gold bar and a date on each coin. The Spanish kept track of each numbered bar, making sure it wasn't stolen and was put on the right ship. Ships carried this wealth back to Spain. So basically, Europeans came over. They were in search of wealth, of gold and silver. They found it in Mexico and in South America, and they forced the Indians to work. They forced the Native Americans that were already living in this land to work in the mines to get the gold and silver, to mine gold and silver, and then to make it into the bars, coins, and other objects. And then they took that money back with them to Europe. Okay. Again, sensing that as we continue further in the chapters, we're going to have a big conversation about those types of things, just so you know. Okay. The next thing, food. A lot of people explored and they found some new foods. I know sometimes we go to a new restaurant and we get excited. They found all new foods, which was pretty exciting. Each continent had its own native plants, so plants that were grown there. Many New World plants provided new foods. All over the Americas, Indians were growing many types of corn for roasting, boiling, popping, and grinding into flour. The Spanish were delighted by this new food. And that's included in the European explorers. It was as healthful and versatile or useful as wheat, but its seeds were much bigger and tastier. So basically, corn that was new for them. Spanish explorers brought back tomatoes from Central American Indians. At first, some Europeans wouldn't eat tomatoes because they are related to deadly nightshade, a poisonous plant. Italians were the first to grow tomatoes as a food crop. So tomatoes, that was another new food. So we have corn and we have tomatoes. The Spanish also found another fruit which looked like a giant pine cone. They called it Piña de Indias. The English later added apple to the name and called the fruit pineapple. Portuguese traders spread pineapple farming to other tropical parts of the world. So 3 new foods for them, and there were more than that, but these are the 3 that your textbook has highlighted. All right, good luck on your social studies Google form. Talk to you soon.